I'm wearing a white doctor's shirt, even has a tube for a stethoscope. This means you're psychologically predisposed to take me more seriously.
So let's get started. So earlier today, someone basically reminded me I haven't made a video on the coronavirus yet, at least here, because I'd not yet. I was already planning on releasing a general video on it. But let me just include the text of my tweets I sent before. There are videos associated with them, but you can see those in the show notes if you want. I'm not going to replay them here. Quote, timeline. Global unrest peaks. World economy based on debt is unstable. Protests everywhere. Trust in government at all-time lows. How do we clear the streets? .jpg. Ooh, scary foreign disease threat. Now they clear the streets and people thank them. Is coronavirus an anti-Bugaboo? So, another informal rant video I sent out about COVID-19. I also added the text, are you okay with being on lockdown? Are you okay with mass detention and quarantine? Is it threatening your freedom of assembly? Why is almost nobody else asking this? The idea the state suddenly cares? Hashtag anti-Bugaboo. So, I was just gonna make a vid on COVID, but I saw more than one person suggesting something absolutely ludicrous and absurd. That being sick in public is a violation of the non-aggression principle. So, I thought that'd be a good inroad to discuss not only the virus, which I'll do later in the vid, but the proper anarchist response to it. Their argument was that knowingly putting viruses in the air is a violation of the NAP, and I just couldn't, and won't. I lost the ability to can in a recent boating accident. Sorry, officer. Now, to be clear, I started writing this before they conceded. Spoiler alert. Myself and Pete Quinones of Free Man Beyond the Wall, great podcast by the way, had me on twice, convinced them otherwise. But they weren't the only one in the thread, and not everyone was satisfied with the answers we gave. So, what were the arguments they had? Well, quite simply, that unless they tell everyone they're in or close to contact with that they're ill and get individual approval from all of them, they've aggressed. Why? Because they released it into the air. Well, not only does it fall on its face because the air is not individually owned, but because if it was, there's a laundry list of other worse things to ban. I'll get to those shortly. But for now, let's hit this idea with the first obvious fault. Staying indoors doesn't prevent spread. That's why many Chinese people are practically shrink-wrapping their homes. What can get in can get out. Second, sitting on your ass is almost never a solution to anything. Ever. Don't go out in public means don't see a doctor. Don't get treatment. Don't use a pharmacy. Don't get wellness supplies. And a whole other assortment of dumb fucking things. Using this strategy would make the illness worse, not better. Third, your immune system needs contact with pathogens to get strong enough to fight those pathogens and more. Sterile enviros are bad for immune health, and only idiots and the uninformed disagree. Fourth, many businesses like, say, Walmart and other places with onboard pharmacies want them to be there. And it's not your choice. But what is your choice is to not go to places actively sick people are. Take some fucking responsibility. I mean, I literally have people comparing being ill in public to an arsine gas attack. Nah, we're not subject to a fear campaign at all. But fifth, and possibly most important to anarchists, is that if we're to get our society, we have to convince people it wouldn't just be a heartless dystopia. And you can't do that by treating grandma like a DayZ runner, stripping her of her liberty and movement because she caught a cough. Literal trash from any anti-authoritarian perspective. But let's extend this to its rational conclusions and say that unhealthy things in the air are NAP violations to forcibly ban. Other things to ban include cigarettes, cigars, and other smokables, colognes, perfume, and other potential allergens, fireplace smoke, factory smoke, car and other vehicle exhaust, hell, any smoke really, and sprayed pesticides, sprays in general, everything down from aerosol, air fresheners, hairspray and deodorants, to high VOC aerosolized chemicals, vapes, e-cigs, and anything of the like, anything which emits any level of radiation. Some people could be sensitive. See where I'm going with this? Hell, why stop with the air? Gotta have rules on what can go in the ground. Gets into the aquifer. Gotta regulate the water and waterways too. Gotta keep the rest of the environment pure and sterile. Food and drugs too. And ban hospitals. All those sick people in one public place are one big threat. Anarchist EPA, anarchist FDA, anarchist DHHS, anarchist hyper-regulation. Don't stop until we reach the glorious, all-seeing, all-stopping, anarchist dystopian superstate. Everything is a NAP violation. You all get physically removed, so to speak. Or maybe be like fucking rational about it. The human body is replete with a host of defense mechanisms, and building a public rule set so arbitrary and convoluted is the task of oppressive governments, not anarchists trying to find meaningful ways past a status paradigm. The body's natural defense mechanisms actually falter if people are kept in totally sterile environments anyway, as they're not capable of addressing new threats when they've not addressed threats before. Think of it like prepping. If you don't drill on a range, when the time comes to return fire on those shooting at you, you'll probably get shot and killed. If you don't drill to bug out and have your bag prepped, whatever's in your city will be more likely to take you down. And if you're never around illness, your sickness will be fucking monumental. Asinine to think that isolation breeds wellness. Wellness is the gestalt of illness, and both require each other to exist. I'm not saying people should go out and throw fucking coronavirus parties either. All I'm saying is that this solution of don't let grandma to the Walmart because she's coughing keeps nobody safe, and when it's taken to its conclusion, it's not anarchy, and it forms a hyper-aggressive, over-regulatory super-state. Sure, you could place some arbitrary limiter on it all, but at some point when people call you on your bullshit arbitrary standards and highlight the wholly fallacious nature of your points, it's going to be a steep transition to people not giving a shit about your ideas. As anarchists, we need strong ideas with good foundations. So, what's the solution here? Well, a little over a week ago, I tweeted this. Quote, ugh, wash your damn hands, don't cough or sneeze on shit, clean your surfaces, take showers, wash your clothes, eat good food cooked right, and if you're not old, immune compromised, or a baby, coronavirus won't hit you that hard. Stop believing fearmongers. Dig? So, obviously people approved of this good general advice and accepted the truth and the responsibility which comes with it. Right? Obviously they took it well and widely shared one of the only rational perspectives, right? Nope! Bring out the fucking clown parade. Holy shit, Armageddon is commenced because I recommended personal hygiene. I had people calling me a koofer for suggesting cleanliness, meaning they have exactly no fucking clue what that meme is for, and meaning they're literally claiming that suggesting basic hygiene means I want people to get fucking sick. Ugh! So I updated the thread with this info. By the way, the original tweet wasn't to say that if you're seriously unwell, all these steps will magically make you better. It was to say, do these preventatively. I have people calling me a koofer for suggesting basic hygiene, and that's just hilarious. Stay mad and wash your hands. And that still didn't stop the clown parade. I was a shill for the New World Order, but I was simultaneously not trusting governments enough, because I said the mass quarantines and lockdowns are a hallmark of already oppressive regimes. I had people saying I'm not an expert, so I shouldn't speak on it, despite these people having like 10,000 posts apiece about what their assessment of COVID was. So I cited Dr. Shiva Ayadurai, who said the following, quote, "Take the Wuhan numbers to the entire world population, around 70 million infected people, and then apply the 2/3% fatality rate. You have about 1.4 million. That's through the whole course of the virus. The number of people who die of air pollution annually is about 4.9 million. 10.4 million die of high blood pressure. About 1.4 million die of not eating enough vegetables. I just wanted to put this in context. Many who are dying are 70 to 80 predominantly smokers." End quote. And to really hammer it home, I posted this. So like, yeah, I was too general. Don't smoke, and your lungs will be healthier, and better able to deal with pneumonia. Maybe like a country with enough smoke to make fake moons and skies is extra vulnerable. Yeah, that's right. A country full of so much air pollution that they're installing fake atmospheres and literally a whole ass fake space with a fake moon, just so their citizens don't feel as much like they're subjects to a tyranny in a molten, swirling, bubbling hellscape, where the primary people dying from this virus are old people under a lifetime of stress who still smoke hella cigarettes on top of that, is somehow still the hotbed of an illness that primarily affects the lungs of the weak. Who the fuck would have thought of that shit? And yeah, a country so stressed that their factories install anti-suicide measures within and without is the healthiest place on earth, normally, right? A country with a brutally oppressive social credit system of surveillance and control is a paradise of well-being now. Yeah, I'm sure everyone else is just as vulnerable, and that justifies martial actual law, right? Just ram it in me, government, and tell me again how safe I am. Whisper right in my fucking ear while you do it. This ain't how woke works. Woke ain't believing whatever governments seem to agree on. It ain't jumping to lockdowns as the prime solution. It ain't using force on peaceful people because they might have germs. It's a rational assessment of each situation, unblinded by unreason and open to the truth. Yeah, the Chinese government is lying about official numbers. That doesn't mean all other governments are suddenly incapable of lying and solely in the business of telling the truth and being on your side. Let's be actually fucking honest here. It also doesn't mean you're at risk, or that your pantry should be full of a bunch of disposable respirators and enough Hot Pockets to kill an elephant. It means recognizing that if you take basic precautions and live healthily, you can likely prevent the main thrust of whatever comes around the bend, and if you don't, your body will probably take care of it. Vast majority of cases. And if you really want the immunity equivalent of an echo chamber, don't let sick people on your property and don't go in public where sick people might be. But I'd advise against it, and so would immunologists. Your immune system is like a muscle. It'll atrophy if you don't use it. So, I advocate measured participation in public life, coupled with a healthy diet and lifestyle. Easy enough, right? Or keep panicking and ignore basic facts. Not like there's anything more important going on, or that governments are using illness as a way to quell public protest and action. Not like government isn't still far deadlier than coronavirus. Nah.